Hey, you guys, it is I, Becca Lori, here with Growing Gratitude. You guys, I'm late, like really late. Um, in fact, so late because I actually forgot that I had Growing Gratitude this morning. So I am so sorry that I forgot Growing Gratitude this morning. I figured I would still keep myself accountable and hop on now because I have the time, the few minutes to hop on and say my gratitudes. And I want to keep myself accountable. I know you guys will catch up. And so if you came this morning and I wasn't on, I am so sorry. My plate is overloaded and I have to make some changes. That has become clear. And I'm not sure that Sunday at 10 a.m. is a great time for me anymore to be doing gratitude. So I need to think about that a little bit. It might serve me better to do it later in the day on Sunday or on another day of the week. So I'm going to think about that and I'll let you know because I still want to keep doing it because there's this piece of me that is really believes in this whole gratitude piece. And I really want to do it and to hold myself accountable for it, because if it works, then you guys are going to see it happen. Right? Like if it works to do this and it grows the positivity and it grows sort of the profits of my labor. That is the hope, that by being vulnerable and keeping myself accountable to this gratitude piece every week in this public way, that I am forced to acknowledge when things come to fruition, and also forced to acknowledge when things aren't going so great, and when I have to find the smaller things to be grateful for. Well, in any case, that's that. And here I am on gratitude, which is the space where I very publicly share the things that I'm grateful for in my life from the week, no matter how shitty my week has been. And so that's what I'm going to do for you guys right now. So this week has been a really big mix of crappy days and really good days. And I think that's sort of the general equation for life, right? We sort of have a mix of good days, bad days, and some in between days. Right? Today was an in between day. It wasn't necessarily good or bad for me. It just was. And then there are other days whose impact we feel, I think, for weeks on end sometimes, or at least for that week, right? That doesn't just dissipate in that way, good and bad, right? So I want to talk about kind of my experience with both of those things this week. So as you know, kind of I'm getting used to my days off and getting used to kind of how that's all going to play out with Antonio and I. And I have requested for August the days that I prefer to work versus the days that I don't. And this month, I'm actually working one of the days that I'd really prefer to have off, which is making it a little difficult for me and making my time feel very squished. I like having Wednesdays and Thursdays off from that job because it gives me Wednesdays and Thursdays to do this stuff. It gives me Wednesdays and Thursdays to do autism stuff. And also, since I'm just on the computer, it allows me to also do laundry and things like that while I'm on the computer and doing the autism stuff. So it's been kind of tight this month trying to get all that stuff done. And I'm making adjustments, as you guys all know. But that's kind of what's been going on for me, just as like a catch up to what's been going on. And then, of course, there are days that are amazing. So this week, on my day off, I ended up having to do our grocery shop, which is not something that I enjoy. And you guys know that. And it's usually something that Antonio does because I really, it depletes my spoons in a way that is very frustrating for me. And makes me feel like I wasted my time. Even though I got my groceries, it makes me feel like it's wasted the rest of my day because I come home from that and I need to just crash, right? So in any case, it was Friday and it was my day off, and Antonio is working and we needed our grocery shop done. So I went on Friday morning really early to go get our grocery shop done. And this was my moment of profound gratitude for this week. This one was my biggest moment of profound gratitude for this week. Very personal, and I'm not sure I'll do a great job of describing it, but I'm going to try, right? So it was this day and I'm going to the grocery store and all of that stuff, right? And I get down to the grocery store and I need gas, and I don't just need to go to the grocery store, but I also have to stop at the pet food store for the dogs. And so I have this set of errands that I have to do. And when it becomes weekend here, which starts early on Fridays in the summertime, folks are trying to get up to where I live to kind of go camping for the weekend, that kind of stuff. And so if you don't go early in the morning on Friday, you really are screwed until Monday because the traffic is terrible. So I was rushing to get ahead of it, right? To get down there and back from the supermarket before all of that stuff occurred. And I did it. I did it. That's the end of that story. I just want you to know I got ahead of it, and I got home just ahead of it. And the rest of all that stuff was on time. But I had this profound moment of gratitude on my drive home from all of those errands. So I did all three of them. The grocery store was last. All the groceries were packed in, and I was driving home. And I was maybe about halfway home from the grocery store, and the sky, we've sort of had rain on and off, especially in the afternoons lately. So it was the morning, and it was this brilliantly bright sky of the morning. And it just looked like a gorgeous day. I had my windows down. The weather was perfect. The temperature was perfect. It was a little bit cool, but not too cool. And the sun was shining, and it was just, there was great songs on the radio. And here I was just driving home from the supermarket, and my view was epic. Right? On top of all of those other things happening, that combination of amazing sensory things, right? Also, right, I had this view, this like truly epic view of the mountains and their valleys and the trees, and the sun was shining in just this really perfect way. And in that moment, I thought to myself, man, I am so grateful that this is actually my life. And sometimes, I want you to know, sometimes when I have those moments, I pause because I almost dissociate. So that having that realization that this is actually my reality, and it's something that I've created for myself, and it's something I never imagined that I would have. And then I think about what my grocery runs used to feel like and look like, and the experience over all of them, which was mostly that I would wear my headphones through the grocery store with sunglasses and a hat, and I would have my car windows rolled up, the air conditioning on, and music playing really loud to tune out everything else that was happening around me. And here I was having this moment where I was letting everything in. Right? The windows were down, the music was on, the sun was shining, and I was just letting it all in. And then I came over one hill, and this view just appeared. And that was my moment of just pure bliss and pure gratitude for having created a scenario in which I could have that experience, right? And acknowledging that I have something to do with it. Right. I just had this big moment, like big picture meta moment of I created this moment with so many tiny small steps. But I would not be enjoying this drive home on these beautiful mountain roads with my groceries in the back and the windows open, some crazy 80s song, right, on the radio, wouldn't be going on for me if I hadn't decided that I'd had enough of New York and I was ready to take the risk and leave. Right. So it was like layers of moment on me. And that was my biggest, by far, gratitude moment of the week, easily. Next one was kind of a smallish one. I had a really kind of crappy day at work. And I'm going to talk about that on Wednesday in more detail, because it's another one of those moments where I had an opportunity to change the way and alter the way and control the way I chose to respond to another one of those trauma situations, another one of those situations where my trauma triggers got touched, right? So I'll talk about that on Wednesday when I do Being Back Alive. But it was that day, right? And all of a sudden, I got a text from Antonio saying, he's going to be driving by the vet's office on his way to go home and let the dogs out. Did I want anything? Did I want coffee or a drink or something like that? So I told him what I wanted, and he said he'd be by, in a little bit. So when he said he would be by, I kind of knew what it was getting close to. So I, told everybody I was just going to go sit outside for a few minutes. And I went outside and I took in the fresh air and took some space from the negative thoughts and feelings that I was sort of vibing at that moment, and just sort of sitting there waiting in the parking lot for Antonio to get there. And when he got there, he gave me my coffee, and I was able to sort of really explain to him what was happening for me in there. And that's the first time that I've really been present moment processing through a trauma and triggers of trauma, like with him there at the same time. And so I was able to really in real time share with him what I was saying to myself inside my head and what I was thinking about inside my head. And I was able to recalibrate because of this moment of honesty and vulnerability with someone whom I love more than anyone else on this planet. Right. And, you know, I just felt so grateful for that moment of knowing that I have that person in my life, feeling lucky for having that person in my life, and just being so grateful for that in this day where I was feeling triggered by lots of trauma stuff. I had somebody who got that and who was able to help me ground in myself, and sort of I wasn't able to walk away from those feelings entirely, but I was able to process through them in a different way. And so I have so much gratitude for that 10 minutes in that parking lot, talking to Antonio in the car while he gave me my coffee. I just have gratitude for that moment because I don't know what my day would have played out like without that. And that makes me think about how much I talk to you guys about how particular we need to be about our bubbles and our bubble people, right? When I'm honest about it, I have maybe 1.5, maybe 2 people in my bubble at this moment in my life. And you know what? I feel safe and I love my bubble. And if other people earn a space there, congratulations to them. But I'm okay if my bubble's never bigger than this, right? Because I know that what I've got going on in there is really, really important. All right, so that's that gratitude. And my very last gratitude today is about this historic event that I participated in yesterday. I gave myself goosebumps just now thinking about talking to you about it. I have goosebumps now. So yesterday, I had the pleasure of participating in an Autism Women's Conference. It is the very first time I have been able to participate in a all women's and women's focused conference on autism. And so I have so much gratitude right now for being a part of that, being able to be a part of it, being around for it, because I only dreamed about such things when I started advocating, 10 years ago. I only dreamed that one day there would be an Autism Women's Conference, because at that time we were lucky to get an autistic women's session at a conference. And so it is historic to me that we had an all women's conference on autism and that I got to participate in it. And I couldn't resist the opportunity to be a part of it because it's a big deal. And there have been others in the world, but here in the United States, this is the first one that I've been able to participate in. And it was really, really amazing. It was amazing to see the other women who chose to participate in the conference. And it was amazing to see the response of the participants, to see how many people were like, yes, we've wanted this forever, we'll register for it, right? So the turnout was amazing. And of course, it's the first go round of this conference. And so there were tech issues and there were mistakes and some people had struggles and all of those things, right? But it still happened and we still got to participate in it. And most of the sessions went off just fine and all of these other things. But if you had an opportunity to present at this conference, or if you attended this conference, know that you participated in a really historic event. There was a time when autism and women weren't said in the same sentence. It just wasn't believed to have existed. And so my giant gratitude is for the existence of this conference, for the registrants, for the participants, for the folks that organized it. Giant shout out to Autism Society Ventura County. You guys did it. You made it happen. And even bigger shout out to their president, Carly Fulgham. Thank you so much, Carly, for allowing me to have a piece of this piece that you put together. We've been talking about it as a collective group of women advocates for a very, 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 very long time. And so good on you for making it happen. And good on you for, leading the charge for us. May there be many, many, many more Autism Women's conferences, only to be followed by autism trans conferences, autism non-binary conferences. All of us need representation. All of us have an experience with autism that is very closely linked to some other part of our personhood. And so we need to really acknowledge all the pieces of our identity when we're acknowledging our lives here on this planet. And so I just felt like, wow, if this is how I'm kind of going out, this is how I'm stepping back, is leaving the world with what I've learned through self-defined living and what I'm teaching through self-defined living, and also leaving behind this little footprint where when someone looks back and says, who spoke at the first ever Autism Society Women's Conference? I'll be able to say, me. I did, along with some really, really amazing, amazing people. I will let you guys know, I know it was recorded. I know that they are going to be allowing you to purchase the recording. And if you've already registered for the conferences and you registered and you went on Saturday, then I know that you will have those recordings available to you for 30 days. And they will be becoming available shortly. They are going to be putting closed captioning and a couple of other things on the recordings before they make them available. So keep your eye out for that. I'm sure I'll be sharing it on my pages. But that's it for me today. That's it. Those were my big, giant gratitudes of this week, and they felt big. They were a small in amount, but they felt huge. So I want you to know that that's the impact of those moments, that they can carry you through and motivate you through the really shitty weeks. Right. And here they were, these very short moments. They weren't long at all, but they were replenishing and they were fulfilling, and they sustained me through the rest of my week. And so that's where the importance of gratitude comes from, you guys. So again, I apologize for missing our early time this morning. I got to figure out a better time to do gratitude for me with this new schedule and everything that's going on. But until then, bear with me, and I'm sorry I missed this morning, and I hope you'll all catch the recordings. If you do, and if you like what I'm putting out in the world, your thumbs up mean a ton to me. So if you could please give me a thumbs up on here, and if you think what I'm doing is cool, please share my YouTube channel with other people. Please share the live streams with them. And because I am all about, really, and I've run my whole career by organic growth. And so if it's not coming from me directly and it's coming from someone else who participates in what I do, that almost means more to me than anything else, is just that really precious organic growth. So thumbs up, let me know I'm doing some good stuff, as do your comments, which I appreciate, love, and take the time to respond to, along with any emails if you want to write to me directly and privately. All of that information is below in the description of this video. I love hearing from you guys. But for now, I remind you to please take some time this Sunday and sit down and think about the things that you have to be grateful for. You don't have to get on YouTube and do it on a live stream and make it all public, but do take some really conscious time to sit down and look through your week and think about those moments that sustained you, that you have to be grateful for. And then with the rest of your energy, get out there and seek some joy, create joy, share joy, all the joys. And I will see you guys back here on this YouTube channel on Wednesday at 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time for Being Becca Live. And of course, I'll be back next Sunday at some time for Growing Gratitude. Keep your eye on my social media for updates on that. And I will see you guys out and about on the interwebs. Have a good one, you guys. Bye.